Alright guys, Supreme Kami here. In today's topic, we are going to talk about how you want to handle your L-Bash exchange ticket. So I believe, I want to say maybe 2 to 3 days ago, we gotten 2 L-Bash exchange ticket via the See You in 2023 login bonuses, if I recall correctly. So I think a lot of people were just kind of questioning like, oh, why are certain parts not within the roster? Or what kind of parts should I be exchanging for like these specific L-Bashes for? I think what I truly feel is you guys should definitely hold off onto them. I think that is definitely the safest bet. Although there's not really like a day where they might potentially update this, so I feel like waiting for it is actually just the best plan, because you know, whenever they drop those, or whenever they I think first and foremost, whenever they decided to go ahead and update this roster, because what they have right now is only up to the speed attribute full armor unicorn, which I feel like is not really that old. But if you take a look at the calendar day, I feel like that was something back in April of 2022. So that's actually quite old if you take a look at what they have dropped right after that, like from, I think, from May all the way to now. The power creep is actually very noticeable. So I just don't know, you know, right? So I feel like holding off is actually a better plan than just spending it and then eventually like, oh, let's say they did update it, right? Let's say in the near future, next year, whatever, in 2023, they actually go ahead and update that roster. Then you say, oh, I actually got some better part that is, you know, let's say I got some part from post 3rd anniversary. I have been maxing out those parts, like I've been cooking them, whatever. Then what will you do? You know, because L badges, like so far and all that, and all honestly, they have not bring back any specific banner where you're able to get L badges for. So that's why these are very rare. So if I were you guys, definitely hold up onto them. But if you guys are just kind of asking like, what kind of parts should I really be going in and just kind of exchanging it, first and foremost, definitely do take a look at the alteration tab. As far as like this roster, scroll down first. I would say scroll down all the way to here. And then in this video specifically, we will only be talking about 7-star parts, because we don't really care about those 6-star parts, because I'm pretty sure, not confirmed, but I am assuming they will probably never bring them to 7-star rarity, I guess, because it has been a year already. If they would have done anything to make the original parts to 7-star, they would have done so already, but they have not. So I'm just gonna say safe to assume that they will probably not anytime soon not do that until they probably recycle through the majority of what the Sokai base unit is. That's just kind of my guess. Who knows? Maybe next year, like somewhere in January, they will like they just floodgate us with 7-star parts. Who knows? But as far as we are concerned, we are going to talk about some specific one that you may be focusing on. I guess a rule of thumb is definitely do take a look at what the second tree is offering. If you feel like the second tree is going to make a massive, you know, difference onto your overall build, you're gonna start hitting harder, then yes, definitely use one of the 2 L-Barriers exchange ticket and get that part. So if you just take a look at the latest unit, I'm just gonna take a look at the torso for the full armor unicorn. So starting out base, ignore the secondary trait, we are getting an enemy damage plus 25%. That's really good. And if we do take a look at the secondary trait, we are getting an all power booster. So obviously, when we take a look at this type of trait, it's a pretty much good to go, because you are getting a very good enhancement after all. So these are typically things you look at. Things that I feel like may not be the best choices. So probably, I don't know. Let me take a look at the late part. Like these here. So we have something like these. You know, we have all enemy cooldown up by 25%. So when we take a look at these portrait, we have to understand how you use them. You know, like these are, you know, essentially you make your opponent cooldown up by that many percentage right there. But in practicality, how important is it to you in relation to them? It's really not, because this is only relevant when you talk about arena like 3v3 specifically. All right. And how many of you guys actually get into like the actual, like the enemy you fight? Probably like, I don't know, 21 player of like of their respective category. So it's a very niche. So these portrait, we don't look at these. Like we see this in the secondary trait, we get like these really good, you know, EXQ cooldown. Obviously we want them, but not when you're pairing this with this. So we don't want to do that. So we definitely do want to understand what kind of portrait we are working with. Like these two, this one is good, but the first one is no, so that's why we don't go for it. I think a very good example where I think is actually really good. Let me see if it's actually on the roster. Oh, it is. So when we take a look at a beam saber that looks like this, this is the beam saber from the Phoenix Unicorn, or the Unicorn Phoenix Type RC. Something like this. You know, we have some EXQ cooldown reduced by 23%, and then you also pair it up with another initial EXQ charge by 25%. So when we look at the overall, like the both trade together, these are things that we say is gonna massively improve your overall build. Because first of all, if you're using this beam saber, you're probably going for like a tech attribute fully 100% cooldown reduction type build. So that is great. You are on a very good path. And you have this, like every build must have this right here. So if you want to fulfill this one initially, the initial charge, go for it. We said this. So this is, you know, typically things we look at that is deemed really good. So I think you guys do get the overall picture. So definitely do go for things that are beneficial, like power boosted stuff. Like I'm just gonna try to see if I can go over a few more examples for you guys. Like these one are godly again. We have some initial, or not initial anymore, but we have an EXQ cooldown reduced by 23%. So obviously you are working towards that, you know, 100% cooldown reduction type build. And this one is not specific. So let's say you've been cooking the slick part, you finally have L badges. Do you want to alt-trade this one? Well, first of all, take a look at the secondary trait. We have squad EXQ boosted. So what does that tell you? If I would tell you guys this is a very good part alt-traded, and that is 100% yes, because we generally do things that squad stuff is actually quite beneficial nowadays. Because let's say you're running in those multi-mission matches, you want to, you know, support your allies, whatever. These are good. These are just buffing your overall team. Your overall teammate is doing more damage, so that is a win-win situation. And let's say you're like a new player. You may not have the best punch rate possible. Your stat may be a little bit iffy. So you're like sitting here like, oh, how do I do my damage? Well, there you go, squad right there. So if you have a few of these pack in every unit, that means everyone is getting it. So this is another win-win situation. So I think these are definitely some stuff you do have to be looking forward to in a way. But like I said again, if you guys do not feel like you want to alter anything at the moment, you feel like things that pass the full arm unicorn is better, like I think is definitely yes. I think everything that passes is actually just quite good. Percentage wise is actually higher. In terms of like the upgrading, like the portrait, I think it's like the requirement is a little bit less. What I mean by requirement, you do not need to fully max out a portrait to get its maximum usage. I think a quick part I can kind of quickly show you guys is just this one. This is just for an example. We are taking a look at the 9 gale, the large mega beam rifle. So these things are actually really good. So if I max things out, we're talking about 30% initial charge boosted. So okay, that's really good. 30%, 5 more percent higher than what we had normally see. But the caches, if you take a look at base portrait level 1, 20%. So that means you do not even need to work on this one to like portrait level 10 in order to get that 25%. So these are typically things that we look at and deem to be really good. But other than that, I think I pretty much did cover everything of what to do with those 2 L badges. I think I even made this video maybe a little bit longer than intended to be, just because there's only 2 L badges and there's tons of parts to alt-trade or whatnot. So at the end of the day, it really depends on what you guys have been upgrading, and obviously everyone's box is different. So please do check your secondary trade just to kind of clarify, or just to confirm whether or not they're good, or do you guys think they will benefit you. If they do benefit you, definitely go all trade it. Don't even ask because they will definitely immensely help you guys. But if you feel like you're iffy about it, you understand fully what the part trade is doing, you feel like it's not good, don't do it. Don't waste it. Just wait because maybe, hopefully one day they will definitely update that roster. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. So it's been 10 minutes already just talking about 2 L badges, exchange tickets. But hopefully you guys do kind of get the overall message behind, how to kind of use it. And then, I'll be catching you guys on the next one.